Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Tracy and I'm doing a video today for the Not Too Shabby Shop box of the month. I'm going to show you a fun little background you can make just using one single stamp. And then we'll use some of the ephemera and put together a card. So off we go. So here's some pictures of the products that I used, the stamp, and just some still photos of the cards so that you could have a good look at it. And here's the third one, and we'll go ahead and get started. So, hello again. All right. So I have a lot of the work pre-done. I have this little die in my stash, and we're using the Bless Your Heart. And I'm head over boots over you from the stamp set. And then we're going to use some of the ephemera that I've already pre-cut. So, and it's all right here. I've got a hat, a flower, and 2 boots. Then I've got my little sign, and then here is the background. I'm going to show you how I made the background, but I want you to be aware that I've sped it up like 20 times because it's quite repetitive and I won't complete it, but I just want to show you kind of the process. So I've got Distress Oxide and saltwater taffy, and I'm stamping the first right in the middle, and then I'm just stamping all around it in different directions, being careful not to have them touch each other. And this is how you do it when you want to use just one stamp. So that's all done. So we'll go ahead and get started on our card here. So I've got this little sign thing or whatever, label thing, and it cuts out this little outer edge, which I think is really cool. And I couldn't possibly tell you where I got that. It was probably one of the very first dies I ever got when I started card making. And I probably got it at Joann. I have no idea. No clue. If anybody knows, hey, leave me a note in the description or in the comment section. So I'm going to glue this down flat to the card base. To the card panel. And some things are going to go over it, and that's perfectly fine. Let's grab our tweezers here so I can get a good grip on this. And right now my paper is 4 by 5 1/4, but I end up trimming it down a little bit more. Oops, she moved on me. That's one good thing, bad thing about Barely Arts glue. You got to kind of watch it. Could move on you and you might not notice. So I'm not worried about what's underneath there because that's going to get covered when I pop this up. So I'm going to decide how my pieces go. So I've got the little boots, and you'll notice I did cut the white trim off the ephemera, but isn't this cute? Those little boots are adorable. I'm going to have a little flower over here. We're going to have our little hat up here kind of under, just so it's the notion of a hat kind of. Yep, I think I'm happy with all of that placement, so I'll go ahead and get started. So I know that the hat and the boot are going to go flat down. So I just use some of my Barely Arts glue down the hat. There we go. Oh, so cute. I just love this ephemera. I love, love, love it. And I realize that it's both the same boot, but you know, let's use our imagination and treat it like a pair of boots. I used to love wearing cowboy boots. I did. I couldn't wear them anymore, but yeah, I had a pair that I wore to death. Okay, let's go ahead and glue down this flower. I liked wearing them with dresses. You know, I grew up in California, so I don't know where that came from, but there it was. And I just had a funny little comment. We're going to pop this boot up. Bless your heart doesn't always mean what you think it means if you live in the South. I do live in the South. And bless your heart could be a heartfelt statement, right? Like, bless your heart, you're a wonderful person. But it also it basically pre-qualifies something bad you're going to say next. Like, bless his heart, he doesn't know what he's doing. And it's mostly reserved for Southern women. There are some Southern men that use it, but it's pretty much just us ladies. So that's just a funny funny little Alabama fact. And it also, generally, it's not hard, it's hort. Anyway, there's that. Yeah, give you a little bit of colloquialisms, if I can even spit out the word, for here in the South. And you Southern ladies already know what I'm talking about. All right, I'm going to add some extra glue to this so that I have some wiggle room. I love how the background came out. And I use Distress Oxide, by the way, in the saltwater taffy. It matches those boots just absolutely perfectly. All right, now all we have left to do is put down our sentiment and put the card together. So I'm going to do 4 strips of this thin foam. I'll just do basically spaced out evenly. Okay, so I'll do about an inch apart, and then I'll do 2 little strips on the top and bottom. So I want room, if I change my mind, to tuck more things underneath, because I do change my mind time to time. I changed my mind on this card because I was going to use a background, a matte layer from the Desert Dreams, and I ended up using Cowgirl Up, just because I felt like I had a better match. So I'm just going to pull the tape off, and then I'll again use glue so I can move this around and make sure I have it in the right position. Now, if you had dies, you could just make, you know, one like the nesting type, because I know I have some nesting type like this too. You could just make 2 or just leave that little background part off, but I find it very useful, and it just adds a little extra to the card. Okay, I've got that in the right place. Now I'm going to trim this down actually to 3 3/4 by 5. Yep, see, I need to turn that a little bit. Thank goodness for Barely Arts glue. Hey, you can get that over at Not Too Shabby Shop too, by the way. So I'm going to trim some off the top and just a little bit off the sides, not a bunch, just about 1/4 inch, so 1/8 inch on each side. Because I want more of my matte layer to show. Okay, and pop that down. Lose a little bit of our hat, but that's fine. So here you see me changing my mind on the Desert Dreams, and I'm going into Cowgirl Up because I just feel like it's just a better match, this one right here. So again, it's very, very soft, very feminine. So that's what's also cool about this Desert Dreams set, is it can go both ways. So I'm going to trim this to a little over 4 by a little over 5 1/4, so that I only have a very thin border, and I end up cutting the border off, so you'll see, because I didn't get it on straight. This is what happens, but it's important that if that does happen, to fix it. So let's go ahead and glue our first panel down to our matte layer. And I'm being generous with my glue so that I have room to wiggle. And a lot of people use tape. I barely ever use tape. I don't trust it. And maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't trust the card to stay together. All right, so I've got that down. Now let's get a white card base. And this is just a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card base. So see, I have a very, very thin border, and what I'm going to try and do is get it even, but I end up not getting it even, and it ends up not wanting to move for me. So even if you put a really small amount of glue, like I did, like really thin strips of it, it clings quicker than if you put it, kind of globbed it on a little. So I'm going to try and move this around on here, so I've got a very thin border all the way around, and I just end up getting it stuck. And so since it is stuck and it's not even, I'm just going to trim off the whole card. You can do that. Yes, you can. So it doesn't matter. It's still going to fit in the envelope. So I'm going to trim off a little bit from each side. And sometimes I struggle with my trimmer, and this thing doesn't want to chop, but because I'm, you know, basically cutting through 3 layers of cardstock. So here's where I run into a fight. Nope, I guess not. Maybe it's here. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I cut the fight out. Nope, there it is. See? Has this ever happened to you? It just won't cut. There we go. I'm still not happy with it. I still see some white sticking out, and I'm super particular about that. Now, if you sent me a card with that sticking out, I wouldn't think a thing of it, but my own, I definitely am picky about it. So all that's left to do is just to add some little bit of embellishment here. And I'm going to pull out the Not Too Shabby Shop. I don't know what these things are called. You guys are going to get me one of these days. Enamel dots, that's what they're called. I'm going to use the sort of peachy colored enamel dots on here and just add a little bit of embellishment. If I can get them to cooperate. Okay, I think I'll put one right down here. Not putting a bunch. These are pretty though. They're really sparkly inside. This one doesn't want to go there. See, it says, nope, don't put me there. Don't put me there. I don't want to go there. Yeah, I want up here. Put me up here. And then I've got a little black goober there, so you want to make sure you get those out. That's because my tweezers are dirty. But I'm trying to be careful not to scratch my card while I dig that out of there. And then we'll get this last one. And that's it. The card's done. Super easy. I hope you're inspired by the background that I created. It was a lot of fun. And I, you know, laughed the whole time thinking about Bless Your Heart. But it's a great way to use one single stamp to get a full background. And then use up all your supplies. So I hope you like this video. Take care. Bye-bye.